Hi, it is Sacred Uprising Institute. We have another video going on today. I apologize that we had to start it over. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Dak's computer wasn't showing him the icons for him to join our live video. So we are starting. This is take 2. So today we're talking with Dak Brown, and it will be from connection for connection. So let's see, Dak is watching, Krista's watching, Courtney. Hi, Krista again. I'm so sorry that we're starting over. The first time everybody does this, it's a little cumbersome, like I've said before. So Dak, if you look at the bottom, it should show you a little icon to connect. So let's just wait. So I don't have to do I don't want to do all the announcements like 2 or 3 times. So let me just wait for, there he is. Okay, hold on. He got it. Approve. You. All right. So I'm very excited to have Dakri Brown. Everybody has been so looking forward to having him on today's conference. So I'm really excited about this. So, okay.
Yay!
Oh, you're upside down.
We made it. Okay, let me do this again. There we are.
Well, that's how us kind of starting this was. It was a little upside down, right?
Sorry, you guys. I'm here now, though.
We got to figure it out. So the next one will be easy, right? It will be
yes.
easy. Hey, Michael.
Well, just use your phone because I thought it could seamlessly connect from my MacBook, but apparently not. But we got it figured out now.
Yeah, well, you actually can. Maybe something is different with the Mac. I know Lori, she connects with her computer. It's all good. We got it figured out, and we're rearing to go.
Well,
so let me just. Yeah, and I'm so sorry you came on and I didn't have our music playing that I wanted playing. We Are the Lions. That is something that Lori and Dak and I are going to be doing a video about at some point. So I can't wait for that one. So today we're talking to Dak, born from connection for connection. But before we start that, I just wanted to introduce Sacred Uprising Institute. This is a platform for spiritual and life transformation. It's a one-stop oasis for continuing your life expansion from beginners to masters to beginners again. And I have a few announcements that I'm just going to go over right quick. Christopher Lee, who, if you remember him, he did our video, The Scientific Prayer, which we got so many people responding to that one. And I've had quite a few people messaging me saying, when is he going to be back on? So last night when I talked to him, I said, we got to do another one. So we're starting to prepare for that. But Christopher was so generous and so caring, and he just honored us by creating a beautiful logo. He does it it's called a soul portrait, where he meditates on you and he designs a beautiful logo based on his meditation. And that logo is now on our YouTube channel, and which is Sacred Uprising. By the end of this week, we will have all of our videos on Sacred Uprising, but the video that I did with Lori today, as well as Dax, will be in most likely by the end of today, but check tomorrow to make sure that they're on there. But please subscribe to Sacred Uprising. In addition to that, our website will be completed by a week from Friday. And the website was based off of my own personal business, but now this business is not about me. We are just voices for God to speak. And so the platform and how it's going to be represented is that the website will be a platform for God. So we're going to refocus it and add information about the Institute. And which brings me to the next thing, our conference is going to be taking place in September in Northern California. I believe that we found the perfect venue. It is a spiritual venue, so it overlooks the ocean. It's really based on meditation. The price for it includes the lodging, because the lodging is on campus. It will have all different types of lodging, from a dormitory lodging where you can save money to a private room. You can, yes, I know, Anthony, he's a problem with his eyes. So that's hilarious. So anyways, it'll be a 2-day conference, and all the amazing people who are doing these videos on this platform most of them will be speakers at the conference. So please let me know if you have any ideas, if there's things that you'd like to see at the conference. I will be putting out like a survey to see how many people would really want to come to this conference. It's just going to be south of San Jose, so everybody can fly into San Jose, and it's about an hour's drive south. So enough of all that. Oh my God, Dak, I have been dying to do this for how many months now? When I don't even remember. I think you and I kind of, quote unquote, met through Benjamin. You know Benjamin? So
yes.
somehow you must have said something, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And so there was a couple years ago, and then about a year ago, you and I actually talked for the first time on the phone.
And it was so exciting because, as I said, I was longing to meet you as much as you were longing to meet me. And we met through my mutual friend, Lisa.
Yes, Lisa.
Dr. Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
so
that.
it was, and what was beautiful is that you know your tribe. That's the whole thing. The vibration, you know your tribe. So Dak and I we were wanting to meet each other and to connect. And then when it finally happened, we discovered that so many of each other, we have the same guides. So it's so easy for us to talk more on a spirit level because I can tell him what so-and-so is saying and he can tell me, and we have these amazing, beautiful conversations. And I got to say, just the energy of them are so powerful. It's just, I love you. I adore you.
Love you too. You make me blush.
I know.
I love you just as much. I mean, it's just amazing your timing sometimes when you reach out. It's moments that I just need reassurance that I'm on the path and that I'm not alone. And so I love that connectivity that we have with each other.
Yes.
So even on that personal level, that tribe connection is really beautiful. It is.
I know. And I said this to you when we got off the phone before, I'll say it again. I am honored to be part of your tribe. So thank you. And I'm so grateful that you're here. So I know people have been going, okay, what is this? We want to hear Dak. Oh my gosh, we want to hear Dak. So I want to hear Dak too. So born from connection for connection. That is incredibly powerful. And I assume this has to do with Christ consciousness, which is a program that you do for people offline, correct?
Yeah, the woke class. Last year I took a total of 19 people through this course. Let me back up how the course was born.
Yes.
Like you, like Christopher, like so many others, Dr. Lisa, and Lori, I grew up from a very religious setting. I was raised in a very religious setting. As a matter of fact, my parents right now are still preaching to this day. But you know how life has its way with you, and you begin to wake up from the system. After I had my breakdown, where I completely kind of lost sight of myself in the midst of doing all of the religious stuff that we do, the going to services, the singing praise and worship, reaching up and out to this God who is far away, who's watching over us and judging us and all of that stuff. I was left by the side of the road, like that person that was broken that Jesus talked about in his in the story of the Good Samaritan, by religion, because I came out of the closet. I accepted my sexuality that I've been suppressing for so long. And the suppression of my sexuality, the suppression of my identity, the not claiming of my truth, just left me in a bad place. And so I was trying to reconcile all of that. I gave myself permission to do what they tell us not to do, to begin to look and to study outside of the Bible. Now, nobody would go to a library, read one book, and then declare they know it all. But that's what they do in Christianity. But I found that when I take what I've learned in Christianity and in the Bible, and I sit it next to Hindu teaching, when I sit it next to, my God, Hermes Trismegistus and Egyptians teaching and the Book of the Dead and other stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that Jesus said, he wasn't the first to say it. That's not what I was taught.
People don't understand that.
That's not what we were taught. We were taught that way is the only way. And the Bible is very good for the colonization and the taking over of a civilization. But it can be in the wrong hands a tool to manipulate and control. And it can separate you from your truth, separate you from your feelings, separate you from your emotions. So tonight's topic is about that. It's about connecting, reconnecting, and to all of the stuff that they said we were disconnected from. What I found out is that the disconnection was only an illusion.
Yes.
It existed only in my head. And as we made up the stories about being separate, about being broken, and about formed in sin and shaping in iniquity, it doesn't feel good to say those things. Why? Because they're not true.
Right.
We are extensions of all that is.
Right.
We are
Chris,
extensions of God. Yes, go on.
yeah, Krista just said, yeah, it drives her nuts when people treat the Bible as the only resource. And Lori and I talked about that earlier. I have many Bibles. I have many Bibles, you know, from the Book of Knowledge to, you know, so even the writings of Rumi. Rumi was very spiritual.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Rumi.
Yes.
So
Muslims, spiritual people, all kind of races. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, right, exactly. So I see God in all of it.
Absolutely.
So why wouldn't I research it? Why wouldn't I file? Why wouldn't I read it? Why would I just follow one book? I mean, it can't, you know. And I think that the Bible has been misinterpreted, and people don't understand. People saw visions, so there was a lot of symbolism. You know, so you have to take some of those things into consideration. So, anyways, I digress. Continue.
So what we're talking about now is born from connection for connection, and what we're going to try to dive into, and I want you to share as well, Tricia, is about, I had to get it through my thick skull that really nothing has ever separated me from the love of God, that there is no separation between me and God, like there is no separation between me and you. This is also the teaching of Jesus. But really establishing that my nature is divine, that I did not come on the planet broken, that I was not born disconnected, but I was born whole, that I was born connected to all that is, that there's an infinite intelligence that flows through me. There's an infinite intelligence that I source my very being from. There's infinite love that we are grounded and we're rooted in. The Bible even said it, in God we live, and God we move, and from God we source our very being. So separation was nothing but an illusion. A Course in Miracles talks about that as well. It was the illusion of separation that Christ came to destroy. In actuality, we've never been apart from God. And you can think of the quantum field of God. We not only are in that, but that entire quantum field flows through us individually.
It's in us, right?
We're not a drop in the ocean. We're the entire ocean in a single drop, as some of our poets have said. And so getting that revelation that there is no separation, then what that fixes is all my issues of self-worth, where I've been trying to get my worth and validations from people, from systems, from external means. I now can be sourced from the inside, because that's what the kingdom is. And that's the message that Jesus really, really taught. When you look at it,
that's right.
That when we compare it to other texts, we can see this is a theme that God has been saying forever, over and over again, that our power and our potential is on the inside of us and it flows out. Absolutely.
Right. You and I had a discussion. I mentioned this in my video earlier today, but I'm going to, if it's okay, I'd like to mention again what God stated to me on Saturday. I was in, I was getting in the shower to get ready, and we were going out that evening. And all of a sudden I got this, it wasn't even a download. It was me channeling what the divine was saying. And I have an issue calling him God, because it's not, it is everything. It is everything. It's all and in all. And so what he said to me, he was explaining, I kind of described it as that he was giving me his bio. So what he was saying, and he was saying it, and it was like poetry that was coming out of my mouth. He was saying, I'm the air that you breathe. I'm the particles in the air that you breathe, that your lungs, I am the lungs that take in the air. I am your breath, that when you praise me, I am your breath. I am the vibration of the words of your praise. I am the word of your praise. I am the letters of your praise. I am the sound waves that take your praise to the heavens. I am the wind that rustles between the leaves, worshiping all that is. And I'm the air, and I am the leaves, and I am the sound of the rustling. I am the wave. I am the spray, the dew that sprays out the waves. I am the plates in the ocean that move the waves. I am the fish swimming through the waves. I am the water. I'm the particles in the water. I am
all that is. Yes.
It was everything. And so what I said on Lori's video, I said, everything you see, I mean, take a moment, seriously, take a moment right now and look around you. It's all that is. It's all God.
Absolutely.
Everything. It is just like it is sort of like my hand and my elbow. I mean, I can move my body in all different ways. You see it as a hand, an elbow, a head, but guess what? it is all me, right?
Mm.
And that's what God is. He is the mountain. He is the dandelion. He is the flower. He is the sky. He is the wave. He is the water. He is the energy that holds my cells together, and he is even the cells. He is the praise
Absolutely.
that comes out. He is my worship. He
Yes.
is my darkness and my light. He is everything. He is all. He is the great I am.
Absolutely. There's no place that you could ever go from God.
Can't separate.
We were taught that we prayed a special prayer and God magically came on the inside of us. Well, where was God before you prayed the prayer?
Right.
If you say that God is all places at all times, then that means that you've never been separate from all that is, that you've always been connected. And so I talked to my friends, they're psychologists, Lisa and Nick, and one of the root psychological fears that you could ever play with or toy with is that root, that fear of separation and abandonment. And that's what our religions do. The threat of this angry God that at the end of all of our days could potentially judge us and send us away. You don't get a feeling that God is love. And then you're committed to love of God that you fear, which is sadomasochism. It's just really, really, really warped.
You know, I never
waking
even
up
thought
from the
about
illusion.
that. I never even thought about that. The religion I was raised in, the foundation of it was abandonment. And abandonment, no wonder. I mean, my parents abandoned me. So now I'm looking even further into it from what you said. That, oh my God, everything, that's what the foundation of my religious beliefs were. That was a hard, and you think about it, I have so much compassion for people coming out of that type of religion that are trying to find love because they know love as abandonment.
Well, this
that's
is
what they think. They have to be good enough. They have to be good enough. Right.
And it's no sense of agape, no sense of unconditional acceptance. And so when you've got all of these hoops and rules externally that you're trying to jump through, then you find yourself inflicting those same sort of judgments on other people. If you look at people that are really strict and very religious, fundamentalists, the more fundamental they are, the stricter they are. Now, we've been taught that the letter kills.
Right.
We've been told over and over again that if you try to stick to rules and systems to merit your worth and your value and your connection to God, that it's going to end up messing you up. But the Spirit gives life. And so when will we learn what we're learning now? There are more people that are learning the truth now about the kingdom inside and learning that we are connected. When I look at millennials, there are only 4% of millennials that want to have anything to do with organized religion. I'm kind of saddened in a bit because although it's like my parents were doing honestly the best that they could when they taught me the Bible. It's not like they tried to teach me. They thought they were giving me the best, you know, but now that we're more intelligent, and I keep going back to that word intelligent because the God and the energy that flows through us is intelligent. And Albert Einstein said, well, what is intelligence? Intelligence is the ability to adapt and to change.
I love that.
We try to hold on to traditions. We try to hold on to, even the Bible has become this idol that it's like, if it's not in there, then it's not anything, you know, and it causes us to separate from other people, to separate from solutions. Because what we learned then, what we're able to do now, because we're more connected through technology, we're supposed to be more intelligent. And to be not intelligent is to go against that divine energy that is in us. And so we're not supposed to stay stuck at all.
Right. Well, I've said in the past, you know, I see an evolution an evolution of God within the Bible. And I think it's because man evolved, with mentally, they started to become wiser. But you had I don't believe that God told Abraham, if God did tell Abraham to sacrifice his son on an altar, I would dare say that's an asshole that would tell his son to do that. I'm sorry. That's just how I've always seen it. However, maybe that was based on Abraham's understanding, because every vision, everything, it goes through our human filter, right? And
Absolutely.
so maybe he heard it based off of his human filter, which was pretty messed up. So, you know, but God speaks to all of us. I say whatever's in me is within you. I mean, you have the access to the same gifts I have. Everybody does.
Absolutely.
It's a matter of clearing our human filter to hear the words and hear the messages more clearly. But you see the God that would tell Abraham to do that, but then you see God that would ask a son of God, we're
his
all
only
sons
son.
of God,
I was
but
so
ask
bad.
his son to sacrifice himself. There's a difference between the gods there.
Right. But still, even in that, the story, the guilt that it lays on, because whenever you take your power
Mm-hmm.
and you give it away to any system, it can be systematic education, it can be all of these things that society, especially our Western society, tends to do. When you take some of the spirit that is intelligent, that evolves, that is free, that has its own desires. Each of us have our own talents and desires and gifts and things that we like. When you try to make it regimented and systematic, what happens is that you sacrifice your
Yeah.
desires and you sacrifice. I remember making decisions and doing things that I didn't really want to do just because I was a part of church and it was a part of that religious obligation that I kind of accepted.
Right.
But as I said, when you do that, you end up going against your heart. You end up going against your personal truth. And I'm so glad now that I get to live a life that is true and authentic, a life that is in connection. And so it's what we keep going back to and what we keep saying here. But yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
So
It's beautiful. Yeah.
the other point that I wanted to stress is the connection between you and your body. Sometimes that connection is severed. Like there was a time when I used to work out and to train to look good for people, to try to, well, me being gay,
Right.
I would always try to be real strong and masculine and not appear effeminate, because in the society that we've created, masculinity has a certain way of looking, has a certain way of being, and which actually has gotten quite toxic. And I'm so glad that now
Right.
there's a revival of the
Right.
sacred masculine energy that we're going to tap into and talk about. But yeah, I was in that system. My motivation for taking care of my body was not because God lived here. It was because I was trying to look good for people. Now, there's nothing wrong with looking good for people, but it's something totally different about reverencing the power that is on the inside. It,
Right.
it's something totally different. Now, there's an awareness. Whenever I juice all the time, I posted all the pictures and stuff of me juicing, y'all would probably be sick of me. But when I take in things that are nutritious and beneficial for my body, foods that vibrate at a higher frequency, I feel better. And for
Right.
so long, I was just a part of just eating everything what is thrown in front of me or what is advertised on TV, that I had no awareness about what it was doing to my body. And now I have that sensitivity. It's so great to know that the same divine intelligence that creates the world will give you the inspiration to tell you what to eat and what not to eat, to show you by feeling, by emotion, by vibration, what foods are beneficial for your body. So reverencing your temple, the connection between you and your body is something very, very important that you've got to tend to. If you're
Right.
tired, give yourself permission to rest.
Right.
If you need a break, give yourself permission to take a break. Whatever
Right.
you need to do to practice self-love in practical ways. A lot of times we're so busy, and this is once again one of the things I had to unlearn in religion. I put others before myself so often. There were so many times when I didn't feel like doing the things that were asking me to do. But, we're taught to take up your cross, deny yourself, and to give to
Right.
others. But
Right.
you can't give from an empty cup. You
Right.
can't give something that you don't first possess. And so
Right.
it's very important that we learn to take care of ourselves, to take care of our bodies. And then the other topic that we talked about as well is attending to your emotions and your desires, connecting with those as well, connecting with what motivates you and what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what 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 things do you want and what do you truly desire out of life. So many times we can get caught up in the routine and the mundane of it all, that we lose sight that we're not even connected to what we want. And so just clarifying that. Do you know kind of what I mean there, Trisha? Talk about
Yeah.
clarifying your desires.
Yeah, you know what? Connecting to our body, connecting to our emotional and our emotional state as well as our desires. That's about self-love. And if you want to feel God's love, you got to love yourself. If you want to know God, you got to know yourself. So start there. It is not selfish to put yourself first. It's all in intent. It's to take care of yourself. It's not be selfish to put yourself on a pedestal. It is being selfish to go, no, this is what I need. And really, truly listening to the cells of your body. Your body speaks to you, your mind
Absolutely.
speaks to you, your emotions speak to you.
Absolutely.
Follow that. You can feel when somebody's telling you to move forward in a direction, and your spirit is saying, no, 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 I'm not moving forward. And what you'll find out, and Oprah talks about this, that you'll hear God whisper. You'll hear that thing within you whisper, telling you to do something, and you don't do it, it starts getting louder and louder and louder until it's screaming at you. So if you don't take care of yourself, if your spiritual issue with not knowing yourself and not taking care of yourself will manifest physically in you getting sick, or you having, you know, other things will come in to distract you or to stop you from going in different directions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so often, it's just a gentle, small whisper that even our body does, trying to wake us up that this is off or you need to change this. Well, if you don't pay attention to that whisper, it will turn into a shout.
It will.
In some
Yes,
kind of a way. But I'm so glad that now we're getting wiser and we have the intelligence to recognize that now. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was you and your shadow. And we talked about this
we
yesterday.
did. Yes.
That word holy that we used to say in church, God is holy. I remember just really reverencing the holiness of God, but not really understanding what it meant. It was from a place of fear, because even if you look at Ananias and Sapphira, this is after Jesus died.
Yes,
they lied to the Holy Spirit and they dropped dead. So it was still this sense of fear from this external force that was out to get me. But it was, and so what it did was it made me present light at all times. Even when on the inside I was going through a bad time, I learned how to project and pretend to be happy, and that's not good for you. It's good for you to connect with your shadow. It's good for you to connect with the dark places that we often are taught to shun. I love
because God is in those dark
God
places.
is in the sacred and the profane. He's
there.
Both. He's in it all.
But nobody, if you would have told me that, Dad, 3 years ago, I would have said, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't understand that, because God is only holy and bright white light and whatnot. No, he's not. He's in the holy and the profane. He is the light. He is the shadow. Absolutely. He is the balance of the two. He is. If it wasn't for the darkness, you wouldn't see the stars. He is all of it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And if I'm honest, it was actually in my darkest place that I found the light.
Oh, well,
it was at rock bottom where I broke through, just like Jonah in the well.
Yeah.
In that dark place in the tomb is where I finally found God, after I ended up just breaking down in London, trying to make myself fit into places that I wasn't designed to fit into. And how many know when you do that, you always end up hurting yourself?
You do.
But when go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know, in Judaism, I was studying the Menuza because I was told to make a contract with God. My spirit told me to do that. So they were talking to me about the Menuza. So I did some research on it. And what I found so beautiful with the Menuza, what God says in Judaism is that he hides in the darkness. So you will find his face. And the ones that keep searching for him in the darkness are the ones that are blessed abundantly. So it's really easy to see him in the light, but keep searching for his face in the darkness. And I got to tell you that not only did I do that, you know, through the dark night of the soul, or, you know, the times that I was going through a rough time, but in visions, I found myself like in this boxed room where it was pitch black, and I would be in my vision, you know, feeling my way around. And when I'd find his face, I'd put my hands on his face and give him glory. And I did that over and over and over. And the thing is that you've never arrived. So that is something that I still have to do. It's not like, oh, I did it and now here I am and my life is abundant. No, you have to continue doing it. And then once you reach certain levels, you have to honor those levels where you found God. And then you have to start the process all over again.
Absolutely. It is a constant, a constant unfolding. We are constantly evolving. We are constantly moving forward. Perfection is a myth. Perfectionism is a myth. And so when I go back to the word holy, when you look at it in its root form, the word holy just means whole. That God is whole. And God realizes that it takes light and dark It
Yes.
takes poles. It takes masculine and feminine. It takes polarity to have energy and motion. And that's what we are, even as energetic beings. And so I really, really encourage you, as Abraham Hicks says, you got to make peace with the contrast and recognize that even the dark times and even the shadows can serve for your highest good. I know even Lori talked about that in her session, how we've
Yeah.
got to rest and trust in the fact that all things, even if they look dark, even if they feel dark, are ultimately working for your highest good. Absolutely.
You know, what's above is below. So if we can see it in the sky, the light in the darkness, of course it's within God, because the universe is a reflection of what all is. And if it's in the universe, it's in our lives as well. You can see the different layers where it happens.
Absolutely.
So yes, God is light. He is darkness. He is everything. He is all. He's a great I am.
On the physics level.
I am. It never says I am only in the good or I am only in the light, in the holy. It says I am. It means everything.
On the physics level, even what we call light, light is a wave. And a wave consists of a crest and a trough, a high and a low, an ebb and a flow. And so we have to learn to honor those parts of ourselves. The Chinese term yin and yang, where they get that, the imagery that they give when they're describing the yin and the yang is that there's a mountain and the sunlight shines on the mountain. So the side that gets the light is going to be bright, but the side that doesn't get the light is going to be dark. It's not good or bad. It's just the way it is.
It is.
They recognize that in our light, there is some darkness. And even in our darkness, there is some light. We were taught over here in this Western system to shun the darkness and to push back the darkness and try to convert and evangelize the darkness.
Right.
But you can only transmute it by accepting it. You have to make peace with your shadow, make peace with your dark sides.
I was going through with my shadow. We call it shadow work, and I was trying to, to cut it from me until I learned that you need the shadow for the light to shine. You need the shadow to anchor you into your humanness. You need the shadow because the tree of life is within, right? It goes out, the branches are here, and the roots go down into our gut, right? It goes right into there, and that's where all of our darkness is. That's where it all is. And so you need that darkness to anchor in those roots. So as bright as my light is, so is the darkness of my shadow. It's both.
Right.
And I learned that, okay, I got to stop fighting this
right.
and just go love it and go, okay, this is me. This is who I am. I can't change for anybody. I am trying to become a better version who I was yesterday. But in the meantime, this is who I am, and I love it, and I'm embracing it, and I'm not trying to get rid of it. This is me. So
important that we embrace it, because again, as we said, if you don't embrace it, what you resist persists.
Yes.
So we were created to feel. But then here's another thing that comes to mind as we're saying this. You really have to learn to love you and your shadow, learn your light and your darkness, as we said, because we talk about this. The New Age movement has a tendency to be so love and light driven that they only want to focus on the light. But there's some dark issues that we actually are going through on a political level, on a social justice level, that we can't bury our heads in the sand. If something makes us angry, you can't pretend like you're not angry. But the things that makes us angry are often the things that we're called to change. And so there's something about looking out into the world, observing the contrast, seeing how it makes you feel, right? And then taking those feelings, not being abrupt in the moment, but begin to devise and partner with the divine intelligence that we talk about to devise strategies to lift others and to elevate others. That's why I'm so grateful for this institute and what we're doing here with Sacred Uprising. We're not trying to fight against the old. We're just showing people there's a better way. There's a more freeing way. There's a more liberating way. And that would be a better solution than me getting online and fighting with everybody on social media. You know what I mean? To paint something big and beautiful, to hold the space and the vibration for it, and to welcome others to the party. I think that's what we are about and what we should be about.
I absolutely agree with you, Dak. I cannot be silent about things that are going on, we'll say politically,
Right.
that I don't agree with, because it's a moral issue for me. They're moral issues. However, for me, it's all in the way that I represent it. So if I go and just attack the darkness, that's like having wars.
Right.
Wars to, to bring peace, or that's trying
Root
to,
chakra
have
stuff.
sex
Yeah.
to keep virginity. It doesn't make any sense. So instead, I'd like to talk about it, to talk about the healing, talk about it from a different perspective,
Right.
to shine light on it instead of fighting my darkness with its darkness, right?
Good.
So for me, that's how I tend to do it, because before I used to, abruptly talk about it, and there's nothing wrong. If people want to do that, if they feel that's what they're called to do, then right on. But for me, I need to, what we present here, so Sacred Uprising Institute, the people that I have teaching and doing these videos and that will be part of the conference, we have to live what we're teaching. So if I'm going to talk about Sacred Uprising, say I want to be proof of his love, I want to be love in human form, I am love in human form, then I have to respond to those things differently. So that's how I do it.
Absolutely. And so we talk about this. I don't believe, and I'm just going to say honestly, that this is the first time that I've come to this planet. I think I've been here before, and many of us are getting a whiff of other lifetimes. And I'm saying this because this is what Jesus knew. He knew that we were eternal beings. When we talk about Christ consciousness, we were taught it from a very religious slant, but Christ consciousness is literally having the awareness and the consciousness and the understanding and the intelligence of God, knowing that there's no separation between you and God. And so that's what we are talking about. And anyway, so I want to get on to this last topic. I know we're going
wait, before you do, Nick, thank you for putting that quotes in there, because I tried on the videos to find quotes from people. Thank you for calling that one out. So thank you for that. Dak, you know what? It's beautiful. What you're talking about is so relevant. And the beautiful thing about it, you don't have to think that you're a spiritual person to have this consciousness about you. You can just be you, not real, because every path is the path to the divine. Every path. And so everybody can use some of these principles that you're talking about it to enhance, to empower, to change, to revolutionize their life and their family lives and their friends, and the ripple effects can go on into eternity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The last connection that we wanted to reestablish is the illusion that we're separate from other people.
Yes.
The us and them thing. Again, that was something that I learned in religion, that they're the saved and the unsaved. They're the sheep and the goat. It always placed me against other people, which ultimately placed me at odds with my own self. But learning, like Jesus said, the Hindus say namaste as well, meaning the divine spark that is in me is also in you. And that's why Jesus said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. Or you do to the divine me. And it's time for us to recognize that there really is no separation between us and others. There's no separation between heterosexual people and gay people. They're the same feelings that you have in your heterosexual relationships, gay people have in their relationships. There's no separation between you and the world. That what you see in society, you are society. That while we try to put the blame to others, we should rather be and embody changes and be solutions. And so getting that through our thick skulls, for me, also just because I was raised so religious, is that there is no separation between me and other people, and just learning about that. Do you have something to feed into that, Trish?
I do. Oh my gosh. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, because this was something else that Lori and I talked about, that I believe, the Garden of Eden, we've all heard this story. I don't believe that there was an actual apple that they ate. I think everything is symbolism, but I believe what happened there is that they realized they were separate. And while religion teaches, because there's the fundamental Baptist and there's the Southern Baptist and there's the saved and unsaved, and so there's all of that, but you even have it here in our country. There's there's the whites, there's the Asians, there's the blacks, there's the Mexicans, there's the United States, there's a border, everything. There's labels. We have file folders where we put labels on everything. We have different categories of food. We even categorize what is a flower and what's a weed. We as humans have separated everything. And that is what our downfall is. And 2 years ago, I was getting visions saying that is everything's going to have to fall apart for us to come back up together, rise together to be one, because that's what we are. That is why I have a problem with borders. That's why I have a problem with walls. That's why I have a problem with politics. That's why I have a problem with religion, because it all separates us. And I got to tell you, I'm getting on my soapbox right now. I had no choice what country I was born in. I just happened to be born on this land.
Right.
This land happens to be called United States of America. And if anybody thinks that other people don't deserve to be here, that is not of God. That is not wholeness. That is not oneness. That is being separate. And that is not of God.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Our Western culture was shaped by that type of belief.
That's right.
It's gotten us into pretty much the mess that we're in as a country, but this mess is serving even more so to wake people up.
Serving a purpose.
It's serving to wake people up. They're saying, hey, wait a minute. We're preaching about love and we're preaching about acceptance. We're preaching about this Christ that is forgiving and accepting. But what we're embodying, what we are living is completely the opposite of that. And then I posted an article the other day. It was talking about how even preaching the word of God, when you live in a country that used to unjustly imprison people into slavery, at the same time preach, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you, there's a split in our soul.
Right.
We were preaching something that we weren't living.
Yep.
We were doing this for ages and ages and ages. Our country was established on this type of separation. And so what we're seeing right now is the remnants of that are popping up in different ways. But as it does pop up, we are healing it. We are healing it.
Right. And so that brings up a really good point. So while we are talking that you have to, for our own shadow, we need to love it. That's what we have to do, because America is having to deal with its shadow right now. That's why all this hatred and all this crap is coming up, because we haven't dealt with our shadow. So you know what if we're going to apply it to our lives, that we have to love our shadow. Guess what, people? We have to do it for our country as well.
Absolutely.
The things that we don't agree in, and obviously I have some things I don't agree in, as I just said, but we have to love the shadow in our country as well. We have to help heal it. We have to rise above it. We don't fight hate with hate anymore than we should hate ourselves, hate our shadow inside of us. We need to embrace it and call it back to love. Call it home.
Absolutely. What a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. So yeah, just healing that disconnection between you and other people, knowing that what you do to others, ultimately it affects you. The judgments that you pour out if you look at how energy moves and how energy travels, the word karma literally means you're doing. It comes back to you. Jesus tried to teach this when he was talking about treat other people as you want to be treated.
Right.
Be an advocate for yourself.
Yes.
Love others in the way that you love yourself. And so these are our topics that you have to really, really, really know and have to really, really embody. If not, there will always be this illusion of separation between you and others.
Yes.
There will be this judging of what they're doing and not focusing on what you're called to do and who you're called to be. So just learning to accept and to make peace with others, with those who are different than you, and really accepting that.
Right. Nick, thank you for that. I see what you did there. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I appreciate that. Oh, Dak, that's so good.
We could go on and on.
Well, so is there any words that you can leave us with today? And we're going to be doing these videos with Dak once a week, indefinitely. And I want, as I mentioned before, I really want him and Lori and myself to do a series together called The Creator's Mind. But Dak, leaving us today, if there's anything that you spoke about that you feel is of utmost importance, can you share that with us?
Just in thinking, if you can just think about these words, I said it earlier, and I'll just say it right now. Close your eyes, everybody that is on this call right now. If you can do that, let's turn inward. In God we live. In God we move. And from God we source our very being. Can you say that aloud? Say, in God I live.
In God I live.
In God I move.
In God I move.
And from God I source my very being.
And from God I source my very being.
Now say, in love I live.
In love I live.
In love I move.
In love I move.
And from love I source my very being.
And from love I source my very being.
I am an extension of love.
I am an extension of love.
Say this last one with me now, and I want you to really think into this and feel into this. In divine intelligence I move.
In divine intelligence I move.
In divine intelligence I breathe.
In divine intelligence I breathe.
Now think about that. Divine intelligence is all around you. It's seen in nature. It's seen in how our planet moves in perfect proximity to other planets in the solar system. We have never ran into another planet. There is an order. There's a divine intelligence to everything that we see in creation. That same divine intelligence is in you. Mm-hmm. And from that intelligence, now say that, say, from that divine intelligence, I source my very being.
And from that
divine intelligence,
I source my very being.
We are the offspring of God. That's us, you guys. We are extensions of that. We are connected to each other, to God. Separation is an illusion. We are connected. And so that's what I want to leave you with. Very, very basic, very, very simple message, but that's what I have to give you for this week.
You know what? It might be a simple message, but if you allow it just to sink into your spirit, will revolutionize your life. And that's a mantra, by the way, that I've been saying for 6 years. In God I move, in God I breathe, and in God I have my being. Mm. And I did change it to wholeness. Yeah. In wholeness. So, Dak, I adore you. Like I said, I'm so honored and humbled that you are part of this platform, because again, this platform is for God to speak through us. And you are one of those anointed ones that he speaks through and revolutionizes people's lives to have the abundance that they deserve, the inheritance that they deserve. So thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I love you.
How do people get in contact with you for your Woke program or any type of intuitive counseling that you do?
So currently, if take a break, I'm taking that 12-week course and I'm doing a book, 12 chapters. It's really, really lovely, partnering with some friends of mine to keep me accountable to deadlines. And so I'm doing that. I'm in book mode now. There's certain people that have my number that I have counseled over the years that they have access to me, but right now I'm doing that. I've got some exciting stuff. Y'all see me be going back and forth to LA. So there's some exciting things on the works or in the works for us. There are people that want to get this message out and want to get it out in a big way, because it's time for us to wake up, y'all. It's time for us to wake up from these illusions.
It is.
And so I'm very, very honored. It's like we've got a whiff of what the universe is doing, you and I. We can see the beginnings of change in this new age, in this age of Aquarius, in this age of the kingdom that we're talking about. And we not only see these changes, but we are broadcasting them to others and showing the light to others. So, right now I'm not really active doing stuff.
Okay.
But I am in the works of writing that book, doing that.
Yes. So you have the book. I do know what's going on in LA. I'm very excited about it. And I am also, you can always see Dak here. We're doing it either Mondays or Tuesdays. It'll shift dependent on his schedule. And we will continue our series with Dak. So thank you so much, Dak. And If you guys, if you go to our YouTube channel, like I said, you can get this, you can watch this again on my Facebook, on Sacred Uprising, which is on Facebook as well, Sacred Uprising, Sacred Uprising Conference, and Sacred Uprising Institute. And I can't wait to meet up with you again next week. I think we lost Dak. So anyways, thanks so much, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow when we do a video called The House My Father Built. Thank you.